maybe Jeffrey needs to worry about is obviously we've seen a lot of lap traffic with all the issues that have happened in this race. Here's the battle a little up the road from him for 15th. Aguera and Ken Eskridge. Patrick, who failed to set a qualifying time, is up to P15 at this stage. So doing pretty handy for himself, even if he couldn't get a clean lap in. And keeping Ken Eskridge at least at arm's length for the time being.
You're not necessarily going to go for the move at every single opportunity, but if the driver in front of you makes a small little trip up or feels like a slam dunk opportunity, you're still going to go for it because you'd feel like a fool if you didn't. So I think that's kind of the stage that we're at in this race, and especially with the drama that we had earlier, I think everybody wants to settle this race into any kind of groove that they can.
Ken got a very good run and took a big look down the inside. He did scare Patrick off the racing line a little bit. Is he going to get the job done is the big question here, as they're going to go side by side. Coming up in an NASCAR bend, Eskridge is on the wrong side of the track on this one, tries to cut back underneath, just about nails it, but doesn't have the speed on the corner exit. So Patrick will retain it, at least for the time being. He goes deep down into the left hook, and that again will balk Ken Eskridge, who can't seem to do anything with it. And again, coming into the snake, that's not for position. Coming up behind them, that is Thomas Doherty. He's a lap down car. So this battle's not over.
This move, Patrick Aguirre, he's been really aggressive in this race, in this battle for sure. We saw those two kind of chasing each other's tails before the S's, but now they swap around. Ken Eskridge jumping his way up into P15.
Maybe not. That's Nye behind him. Oh, it is. What in the world happened? Wheel failure?
My goodness, yeah, that had to have been some sort of hardware failure, either a wheel failure or some sort of monitor issue. Tries to back it out of harm's way. Let's ride on board. You'll be able to see the steering wheel and hear the throttle inputs as he heads his way off through here out of Oak Tree. Looking all right.
Watch the wheel here. If it jerks, then it's definitely.
Yep.
Well, it's not instant.
Yeah. Oh, look at that evasive action there. That could have very easily ended in disaster for two drivers. In fact, I think that had to have been a monitor failure. I think he knew roughly what part of the racetrack he was at and decided just to take the high road as soon as his vision blanked out there. That was very strange, though.
All right, guys. Today is the day we say farewell to the 992.1, which is the previous Porsche Cup. We were using that in our racing league with the PCA, and that's the Porsche Club of America. Today we'll be at VIR. I did very little practice, so that will be very clear when you see this race. And I guess just to put things into context, there is a moment where I do completely forget where the pit stop's at. So that being said, if you guys enjoy the video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell. Outside of that, I hope you enjoy the video.
11th and Leon Snyman will be in the 12th position. Then it is Robert Gallais.
Radio check. Spotter radio check. Can you hear me?
Outside, Jonathan Sesportis will start from 15th and John Kaplan in 16th. Alex Lidback is good enough for P17 with James Legault in the 18th spot. Then it's Lisa Eskridge in P19 and Jack Stevenson in 20th.
I like being by the kitchen.
Outside of the first two top 10, we've got Ken Eskridge in 21st and Andy McCune in 22nd. Patrick Aguirre will start from the back as he did not set a lap time in qualifying. And we get ready to go racing in just a few moments.
I don't even think I mapped buttons on this.
All right, Patrick, it's a strong grid. We're expecting you to finish in at least P21. The track temp is 80 Fahrenheit. The air temp is 72. 60 minutes. Rolling start. Get ready.
Two Jersey barriers kind of separating him.
I don't know how much fuel I have.
Stay behind. Keep in the right column.
Oh, bro, I didn't get enough fuel, did I? 25 laps?
Race car speed is 47 miles per hour.
Pace lap.
I don't know, we'll take off. There's some people that almost finished this race.
You need to catch up to Key.
Pit stop as they do not have enough fuel to get to the finish. We did see that play a part in last night's Sport Championship.
What happened to this?
One of the
It's not
drivers
on.
fighting with our
I forgot to turn on my damn
stop and gifted a place to one of them. Will that have an effect here in tonight's as well?
Yeah, I think the pit strategy has always been huge throughout this season, whether it be here at VIR and some of the races that we've seen leading up into this one, whether it be the opening weeks of the season at Spa, or even going through some of the technical rounds that we've got off the back of the rain at Aragon and the nighttime action at Zolder. The pit stops have always been so important, so we'll have to keep an eye on that pit lane. It is rather long here at VIR, so any sort of penalties can be multiplied.
Go.
Let's get this season finale up and rolling, Joe. It's been a treat to be in the booth with you all season long, and we've still got one more champion left to crown.
Indeed, and the pace car is in. Brad Dunn taking off a little bit here. He's not quite lined up with everybody else. Not sure how that's going to affect things, but they're waiting for the call from the flag stand, and there it is. Green flag is out just as Brad had started let off a little bit, and this allows, I think, Doherty to get a bit of a run here. No, excuse me, it was the other car to the outside. It was Thomas Doherty who was going up.
The next car is Andrew, C license, and their rating is 0.9.
He's got a black flag as they file through the horseshoe with Dunn leading. Now Carmichael, who's moved up in a second.
And that is a big kick in the shins for Doherty to pick up a black flag right at the start of the race. He's going to have to come in to serve that almost right away. Then pretty much the whole way to the back of the pack. That is a huge disappointment to have at the very start of this race. He's down at 9th at the current moment and will likely drop down even more. And that is a huge stinger.
So, some interesting things have happened. Nye gets in here. No, I don't see any break. Vincenzo up to 8th. Trippett has fallen to 11th, but O'Neill is once already gets in. And already we've seen a lot of single file racing, in interesting contrast to last night's, where drivers were frantic at the start to try and pick up spots. Steve Tony, he's the car on the left that is just too far ahead. You cannot do that, and it is automatic. That is in the Irene standard. They hand out the penalty if you start ahead.
Incident in roller coaster. It looks like Carmichael
I think he realized the error of his ways just a little bit too late. There you go. As soon as that happened, I think he knew the writing was on the wall almost immediately. That's a big mistake, a big moment. That's another big moment. Contact me. Go out.
There's an incident in Hogpen. It looks like it's Doherty and Carmichael.
Off into the grass at the roller coaster. Jeffrey Block will now inherit the lead. What a chaotic start to this race. Johan Nye is now up to second. Remember, he needs to potentially win if he hopes for a shot.
Soaking the track best I can.
Trippett's up to 9th. That is enough to seal the championship for him. But Nye's doing what he needs to do at this stage as we watch our leaders come into the roller coaster. Unfortunately, blocked by the tree. Didn't really get a good look at it from there.
Yeah, I think that thunderstorm that rolled through here about a decade ago lit the wrong tree on fire there, at least for that camera angle. We'll have to take a look at another look at that. There's more drama going on. Oh my goodness, was that involving Doherty? Was that him going off the track and just pile driving into the side of the car there? That was heading off. Yes, that was Doherty. Big drama for him on lap 1. A lap 1 to forget it. Your Thomas Doherty. That was heading off into Hogpen. What did I say on that track guide about roller coaster? At the end of that next straightaway, turn number 14, you can get a move done through there, but if you don't exercise a whole lot of caution, it's probably going to end in tears. And look what happened. It ended in tears.
Poor Carmichael has a black and orange flag as he got thwacked in the right rear, so the suspension probably unable to continue. He will have to try and fix that if he wants to carry on. Kind of amazing. The car is actually
Carmichael is closing in. The gap is now 0.13.
Hit both initially and then into the tire barrier, but he's got back on the track and he is running at pace with those around him.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised about that. That rear suspension has got to be a little bit crooked, but you know, nonetheless, it's
the leader's just done a 151.45
drama at the start of this race, and we have most certainly got it. The drama is still far from over there. Looking at a battle for 5th involving Keith Marcus and Anthony DiVincenzo and Brad Dunn after starting this race from
there's an incident in Horseshoe. I think it might be Anthony and Marcos.
Three-car battle. 3 wide racing nearly as they head their way downtown into turn number 1. Will Brad Dunn stick a 3 wide? I don't believe he will, as DiVincenzo gets that spot, but moves in the braking zone. That's not going to work car contact made it to one, and that's going to allow Brad Dunn to get by the both of them.
And that's DiVincenzo. That's one of our championship potentials. He's falling down the order and is actually into ninth because of that. So it's all kind of gone awry for a few drivers that needed a good night here. Looks like Anthony's got it back running once again. He's got Ben Whitehurst still behind him and applying the pressure. So while he did get knocked off track, I'm not seeing any major damage on the car.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at a replay of that, but upon first glance, it looked like DiVincenzo was trying to block off that inside a bit too aggressively, moving in the braking zone, it looked like, from that camera angle at the time. I would have to take a look at another replay before I can say that definitively, but that's what it looked like on the first glance. If that is the case, though, Anthony DiVincenzo may catch the ire of the steward, so
Gap to
rubbing salt
Andrew
into the
ahead
wound's
is
back,
now
not only has he
0.7.
dropped down to P9 at the current moment, would be very much so an outsider when it comes to that championship, and also runs wide through Oak Tree. Things going from bad to worse, even worse still for DiVincenzo in that 420 car.
Whitehurst gaining on him here coming down Madison Avenue. He managed to actually catch and pass him here. I think he's a little too far away
doing
from
that
where
all
it's
wrong.
Fastest lap for
You
block,
never know.
150.76.
He did shut the door a little late, but that car was coming from a long
There's an
ways
incident
back.
in Ogpen. Looks like
You can
it's
see in
Marcos.
that entry that
Yellow
got
flag.
by both of them. He's now up to 7th, so he is very firmly in that that safe zone for the championship. And it looks like Les Carmichael was flagged
Right
because
side's
the
clear.
incident. Oh my goodness,
P18.
Marcuson just went off in a big way just now off screen, and we had another car with him. Looks like
There's an incident in left hook. Looks like I am.
this stage, but wow, this is a wild start. We're not even 10 minutes into this event.
Yeah, I was expecting some drama, and we've certainly gotten it. Let's take a look at this moment here with Marcuson heading his way off through Hog Pen. Surprisingly difficult corner, and oh, he was not alone in that. 2 cars going off the track in one shot. That was synchronized,
Time
spinning
there.
a sympathy spin perhaps. Oh boy, I was talking about the challenges and the troubles that these drivers were likely to face here at VIR tonight. I wasn't expecting it to be this chaotic though for the season finale. Everybody learning that VIR, when it bites just about as hard as the snake that the 5 and 6 and 7 section is named after.
That was Ben White.
Car on your left side.
That spun on his own.
Still there,
So I figured
clear on the left.
wild that they both spun at the exact same spot, almost the exact
defense
same
on
way.
Heath.
Here's Ben's incident. And just probably getting on the throttle a little bit too much, yeah. As the car presses down, decided not to grip as much as he had hoped.
Okay, Patrick, hold your nerve. Just keep it smooth. No mistakes. They're quicker than us entering turn 14. That's the new fastest lap for block, 150.36.
Black flags. Head down the line.
Fastest lap for Dunn, 149.84.
Black flag from the jump start of Thomas Doherty. But we do still have 23 cars.
Trying to hold on.
I think that backwards. Still stationary right now. Doherty has made his way back in on top. See if
Car
he
right,
can turn
clear on the
track
right.
is, Johan Nye.
Oh no!
Falling off, actually, it looks like Jeffrey Watt.
Fuck, man.
Gone out of track limits. Keep it between the lines.
Idiot.
Chase down
Dumb.
that.
Nah, bad luck, mate. The guy in front is key A license, and their rating is 1.5.
Of this race being done and dusted. I think these racers are finally
Incident
settling
in
into
left hook. We think it
groove,
might
and I think
be
everybody
Andrew.
is welcoming that with open arms. Certainly, one driver who may have appreciated that chaos is Ed Tribbett, since he's in 6th and is very much so on track as it stands currently. Of course, things can change. A lot of things can change, in fact, in the next 51 and a half minutes of this race. But I would say the big beneficiary out of all the chaos has certainly been Tribbett, because look at that gap that he holds at the current moment. I mean, now he just got moved on Brad Dunn, as Dunn is actually dropping down. Something may have just happened to the driver of the 241 car. Something certainly happened to Patrick Arguer as they headed to wear off into turn number 1. But yeah, I was just going to elaborate on that point. Trippin really feeling comfortable at the moment.
Okay, Patrick, you're reeling P19 in. The gap is 0.6.
He's given a penalty as it was done a little south Bend, facing all the way there. On his way back on. Yeah, Markson for the dive bomb.
Where are these guys stomping at?
So coming in the first corner is going to have to visit the lane, serve that drive-through.
I'm going to take.
Look at that tower. Nobody is where they started in this race. It is all jumbled up with Lexi up at the front, making up positions. Delays up 7 since the start. Brad Dunn at 7 since the start.
These guys are finding the groove.
Still just sitting behind Johan Nye, who still needs at least one more position, and then a little bad luck for Ed Trippett if he wants to try and steal
P19.
But Trippett's already up into P5 now.
And I will say, 1 week ago here on RacePod for the Porsche Club of America, we were covering the club class. I was on commentary role for that as well. And during that race, it was pretty much just a matter of survival too. Now, Joe, you were around for the racing action yesterday, and I know you mentioned that there was an insane championship fight to end off the season just 24 hours ago. I want to ask how much chaos kind of played a role in that race. Was there kind of the same amount of chaos, maybe a little bit less, or is it just kind of these like a 50-50 where some of the series totally clean, it's just a matter of strategy, and others it just seems like the track is biting harder than the pit stops are?
You know, it was very odd because as we see Jack Stevenson going off just before the snake, very good job by everybody involved. That could have easily been an accident. And thankfully, cool heads prevailed. Carries on. It was.
The gap ahead is now 0.8.
Down the South Bend, bounding through the infield. If I can eventually get to my
The leader
goal.
has just done a
The last night's
150,
race was
104.
mistakes from our two title contenders. One would be doing well, and the other would be making a mistake, and then it would switch roles multiple times throughout the race. That was a wild ride coming out of South Bend, so thankfully not an accident once again. And Vernon Messer has unfortunately left the building as he seems to have suffered some sort of connection problem.
I'll take that.
That is a shame for Vernon Messer. That's the thing about sim racing. You don't have the same sort of failures that you have in real life, brake failure, whatever the case may be. You don't have mechanical problems here. You just have hardware issues, as that's a spin for Aubrey Iyer. Oh, that could have been a disaster for the Anthony DiVincenzo off the back of drama, heading off through turn number 1 a little bit earlier on for one of your championship contenders. He merely just saw a season end in smoke.
Very, very close. Iyer obviously trying to get the car going maybe a little bit too quickly. Curious if that'll be some sort of unsafe rejoin on that one. And we'll see Aubrey start to spin. And then probably should have locked it down, but kept moving. Oh, I mean, big wipe of the brow for DiVincenzo in this situation.
The lines are jacked.
I would not want to be in his shoes in that exact moment, because if I were, I probably would have let out a scream that I think would probably be able to dissolve kidney stones. It'd be that high pitched. So oh boy, I think that Anthony DiVincenzo should probably go out and buy a lottery ticket after this, because yeah, I think he has most certainly earned it, because that very well could have ended his season in dramatic fashion.
Here is John Kaplan.
I need some wider turns.
That's right now. Since Mortis is the one you see behind
VIR.
765.
What's up, Jason? Yeah, bro, I can't do VIR. Sorry, I can't see chat either. Why?
The gap in front is now 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, no, chat doesn't pop
Drivers
up.
really taking advantage of the
Used
mistakes.
to.
Others
I
around.
had to,
Mentioned Delays having a pretty good run. He's now up 8, although Brad Dunn has caught back up to him. Is this a lapped car? It is indeed. It's Ben Whitehurst. He's going to allow them by. That's great running by him. Dunn's going to try and sneak down to the inside. The polka dotted car does not fully defend. Tries to steer down to the apex. They're going to make contact. And Robert gets half spun and turned back into position while Brad carries on.
Okay, Patrick, relax,
Once again,
focus,
turn one
keep it smooth.
strikes as
B17,
much as I
the
talk
car in
about
front of
turn
us
number
is
14
Andrew,
being a
C
spot
license,
where he
and
could
their
get an
rating
overtake
is
done, but could
0.9.
very easily end in disaster. I feel like turn number 1, in an odd sense, is basically turn number 14's younger brother, in the sense that you kind of have the same sort of characteristics, just slightly lightened down. But even that, seems like turn 1 has been the spot where disaster has broken out more often than not. There was a moment that turned Gallus the wrong way for a brief moment. He was able to get turned back around without any further incident. That could have been a heck of a lot worse. It still wasn't ideal, though.
On board with Snyman. This is,
Yeah, I can't even see what their laps are.
993, excuse me. It's behind the recovery block. Gets it going once again. That did give the spot to Anthony DiVincenzo, I believe. So that puts him back up into 6th. Anthony has an even longer shot than Johan Neidring on trying to win this title. He is nowhere near that at this stage. Will we see another incident?
You're reeling B16 in, the gap's now 0.7.
Clean, hopefully crossing fingers that is going to be the case as they're about to go side by side up into the picking zone. But Delays is much deeper on
There's an
the
incident
winders
in,
than he is
roller coaster. Looks like
ahead.
it's Lisa.
The time being on Simon. So that is P7 retained by the 809. Hopefully he didn't get too much damage from that contact. Let's see if he stays out. It's just maybe a tad early. Indeed, he does. So it looks like the car is good enough. So sweet. Now get only a quarter of the way into this one. Will we actually settle down? Maybe not. Leon going deep once again. This time here we get into the side of Delays. What's happened to Lisa Estridge? Well, a car appears down at the apex of the roller coaster. I definitely do not put the blame on her for that one, because I think that just was not a safe move from the car diving up the inside there.
Yeah, so once again, an overtake not going too well here for these racers. I wonder how exactly things are feeling behind the wheel of these drivers' cars. You know, we kind of talked about this a little bit before we went live, just kind of a joke on my side, saying, hey, this is the first time that we have run, and at the very least here in this challenge class, with this car now being part of Legacy content, I wonder if there's any updates in the iRacing season swap that may have affected these cars somewhat, because even if it isn't listed, there can be some updates just done to any sort of physics surrounding iRacing that can maybe just tweak it ever so slightly. It feels like these drivers are having to relearn these cars, and most certainly relearn the braking zones, because it seems like that's
ahead is now
the biggest
0.7
source of trouble and contention for these drivers thus far tonight.
There's a good possibility of that. And now that we catch up with Ed Trippett, he's actually catching up to Dave Jones. This is for a podium potentially. Number 6 where he began the 444, sitting in a great position to clinch tonight if he stays where he is. So he does not have to pass Dave, but I imagine he probably want to get to celebrate a little bit of champagne.
New
tonight.
fastest lap for Carmichael, 149.59.
Continues to hover behind the camouflaged machine. As they make their way towards NASCAR bench. Let's check in with Ed's onboard camera here. Looks into the apex, down into the left hook quite a bit on that inside. He's aggressive on some of these curves. It looks like he paid for it a little bit. He doesn't quite have the run coming into the snake. He loses ground to Jones now that it is up to a second between them. But again, that's not a problem for him. There are the live points on the upper right-hand side, and easily ahead of Johan Nye, even though 141 sits in second on the track at this stage. Kaplan, obviously, still going to catch Vincenzo. Where is he right now? He is running to
Even Lisa Estridge has
half
a
the
faster pace.
Anthony at this stage. There he is. The sort of bronze 526 coming around Oak Tree. Getting ready to head down Madison Avenue. He's also had a pretty decent race, and he's gained 7 spots himself. So I don't think he will be playing too much, even if he doesn't manage to get a spot in this one. That's on higher. You can see in the background giving chase. Number 4 car. Trying to see
2. Andrew, in front is now 1.1.
Wide. So, SS Sportus. We come to the replay just as the car is heading off into turn 1. Let's take one more look at it. This was just behind Capra. Yeah, that was almost getting back of Capra. I suspect that Jonathan just simply outbraked himself there, Bob.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty massive lock up there. Could just see the white smoke as he desperately tried to avoid making contact as Aubrey Iyer with another sideways step, this time on the exit of turn number 1. Talk about turn number 1, the challenges heading off through there. The exit of the turn is a bit of a pain in the butt in cars that can spin up the rear wheels very easily, because you don't really strain out on any corner exit until you head out turn number 3. And even then, it's a brief little flat out blast before you head your way off immediately into turn number 4. Black flag in the air from Les Carmichael. Things have really gone poorly for him here in this race. Just wanted to touch on that. But yeah, the exit of turn number 1, once again, proving to be a bit of a trouble spot here in this race, the entirety of turn number 1, in fact.
With delays, it's almost caught up to Anthony DiVincenzo here.
The gap to Andrew ahead is now 0.9.
Catch up to him, Simon. That far behind, we saw him get close to having maybe a little bit of an incident with the 809 more earlier in this race. It seems like he's well out of range, at least at this stage. Those we have the 41 Ed Trippett still leading this championship according to the live standings. Before things change around again, we want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Princess Cruises, the title sponsor actually here. They are the official cruise vacation partner of Series 14 and provide exclusive offers, including world-leading itineraries across a fleet of 17 ships sailing destinations. Reach out to the BCA Concierge team to book your next adventure today by calling 833-679-2188. Right, so Carmichael going to have to serve that penalty. Looks like he's actually doing so right now as we speak. Coming up on the right-hand side of
P17
screen there. But Trippett kind of sandwiched between a couple cars now. But they are not in full position. At least the one ahead of him is not in full position. That is Brad Dunn, our pole sitter, behind him. Brad on a bit of recovery here.
And, you know, after having a pretty good start to the evening, it must be said, grabbing the pole position is one heck of a way to start off the
Alright,
night.
Patrick, you need to pass this to not lose too much time. They're slower than us into left hook.
Even though he's currently tailing the man who, as it stands at the current moment, is on track for a championship title here in Series 14 of BCA. He still wants to get this move done, and I think he's maybe sensing an opportunity, because if you're at Trippett, there's really no point of risking it. You know, you can just let him have that spot. It's still a pretty significant way back to find Anthony DiVincenzo. You certainly don't want to give up a lot of time, but you can kind of pick and choose your battles somewhat. So if you're at Trippett, maybe I would see that car right behind with the 241.
There's an incident in Oak Tree. It looks like Andrew.
Trying to find any way in the book to get past me. I'd probably say, you know what, you have fun, go out and try and get your podium.
The next car is Lisa Rookie License, and their rating is 1.3.
Double check for me here, but from what I can tell, I don't think Brad Dunn has raced yet in Series 14.
I don't believe he has either.
Interesting. I mean, starting off at pole, but yeah, clearly a little rusty in some ways. It's about 17 seconds off of Jeffrey Block, who leads this race. So I don't think he's going to be able to run him down unless we have really
2.9 to
As
Lisa.
we've seen,
We're gonna catch her.
Aubrey
And then,
Iyer.
I don't know about P14. I can't hear anything.
Up in an oak tree. They don't over
16th place.
Car starts to spin. Thankfully, not out into
Incident in
the
Horseshoe. You think it might be Lisa?
Apex before getting going.
We've had a cut warning. Keep it tidy, please, Patrick.
Probably potentially for Ian McCune off of the corner instead. Into the grass.
The guy in front is Stevenson, C license, and their rating is 0.5.
Nailed down on this racetrack. It's so vital as well, since it leads onto the back straightaway and leads directly into turn number 14, which I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Les Carmichael is going to be happy about not driving through turn number 14 for quite some time after this race is set. That's where things really went poorly for him a little bit earlier on in this race. Just went off the track there once again. I believe he's come down pit lane. I'm not sure whether he's just come down pit lane under his own power, under his own volition, or whether or not he's had to tow. But certainly an unfortunate way to end off the season for Les Carmichael. Been a good season for him. You know, he's been in contention more often than not. Of course, started the season off with a pole at Spa, as that's not a good way for things to go for Lisa Eskridge. Ends up finding the tire barrier on the outside of turn number 1.
That's unfortunate. You do come down there with a lot of speed, so it can be hard to slow the car down in time. Blaze being caught by Snyder. In the meantime, this is 4 seconds.
The gap behind is now 12 seconds.
And, this is kind of threatening to become something for a while now, but it doesn't seem like we've had an attempt quite yet. My concern for drivers such as Les Carmichael is, let's not forget that, as that was Steve pick from Leon, thankfully keeps it from becoming worse. Let's not forget that we have an instant in this series. At 25, it is an instant. So,
incidents I have.
we don't want to flirt with that too closely. We have a lot of spins in on the tracks, or else you want to be gone. And
15th place.
In that situation, you do not score points. So that is one area in which we could see, our lead car not score anything and allow Kaplan back into it. But again, that's sort of a very rare situation. Speaking of Kaplan, he is the car behind Simon and Lisa.
Incident in
There
Horseshoe.
he
It
is,
looks like
separated
Lisa.
by a lapped car.
Lisa's having a bad
now.
day.
So that's the black and white machine that you see catching up to the pink cars.
Yeah, with all the chaos going on in this race, I can't say I'm shocked, but I am a little bit surprised that we still have the field as relatively
Okay, Patrick, you've got half your fuel left.
The top 11 covered by about 40 seconds, even then, top 12 covered by 45. It's a rather close field that we've got going on here as Lisa Eskridge once again goes off the track through turn number 1. I'm going to amend the statement that I made a bit earlier on in this race because I feel like the actions of this race thus far have played me like a fiddle. I'm going to say that turn number 14 isn't actually the trouble spot. Turn number 1 is, because even though turn number 14 was certainly the source of the drama at the very beginning of this race,
Keith is closing you down. The gap has come down to 10 seconds. They're faster than us into turn 5.
Either through the braking zone, through the turn itself, or out of it trying to build the power up without any sort of incident throughout this race.
And curiously, both of our championship contenders in the sport class suffered with a similar problem. Working themselves into turn 1. So there might be something to what you were mentioning earlier with a slight change in the car and the way that it drives. So I wonder if some drivers just maybe got it slightly wrong in a way compared to how they're used to driving down into Horseshoe. By the way, Kaplan has already Steven back here as we continue to watch Johan Nye. There is the battle, and the lapped car letting both of them by to carry on without interruption. So Sean Kaplan, from 4th in the championship, now up to 9th in this race, looking for potential in the 8.
Oh, shit.
That's a new fastest lap for Carmichael, 149.59. The leader has just done a 149.89.
This race either, so you can't rule out anything as that's a driver spun off on the inside, trying to figure out who that is. I believe that is a lap for Canada. Yeah, that is Marcuson. It's a tough way for his race to go after starting up towards the front early. Things have just gone down.
Yes, you were correct. That is a lapped car, so not really suffering too much from that one, other than another blows ego potentially. Leon, who at one point looked like he might be able to challenge the 809 for 7th, has had to go to a bit of an offense. About the 444 Trippett, he's still in P4 and has fallen off of Dave Jones. Remember how close he was before? It's now nearly 4 seconds between them. And Brad Dunn, who for a brief moment looked like he was going to catch up to DiVincenzo, has fallen back by about 10 seconds himself to that 420. So they teased us for a little bit there, Ron, but unfortunately the air has gone out.
The gap to P16 behind is now
Let's see
6.5.
when that needle came in to pop the balloon. Oh no, it was a huge sideways snap coming out of Hog Pen. He goes for a trip off the track. All of that was a matter of inches between the back of his car and that Armco barrier. Brad Dunn keeps it out of the fence, but doesn't keep it on the road. Huge time loss there. Loses out in the spots of Anthony DiVincenzo. Shows you how big of a gap those two of Dunn and Trippett had at the time to DiVincenzo as he was rejoining. That was finally when DiVincenzo got the overtake done. No, a huge moment for Brad Dunn as he headed his way out of the final turn. First driver we've really seen have trouble. Actually, you know, I'm going to amend myself. We saw two drivers.
I'm assuming you said, am I ready?
Earlier. First driver that we've seen spin the other direction heading out of the final turn.
Okay,
It's definitely possible to do it both ways there. Neither is all that great. You have one off the outside. So interesting. I didn't realize that Dunn had made such great progress.
Okay, Patrick, half distance. We think about 20 minutes of fuel remaining.
That mistake.
that's nice.
Really needs a little bit of
That's
work
Dave.
on the
Dave did that
consistency.
for me.
But
Dave
the
set
good
my
news is
fuel
that
up.
the speed is there.
P16 is reeling you in. The gap's now 3.1 seconds. Quicker than you entering zone 5.
Serious threat in this championship. But for now, he still wallows in the 6th position. Play catch up yet again out there. So it is still led by Jeffrey Block, by the way. We haven't really talked about him. In fact, we've barely shown him. And as we take a look here, get this. He's 15.5 seconds ahead, and he's absolutely dominating just past the halfway point.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned him at all, and considering the amount of chaos that we've seen thus far in this race, that may be a good thing. I think Jeffrey Block is quite happy about the fact that he has stayed out of the limelight, but holding on to a comfortable gap in the front of the field, as there was a moment for Keith Marcus, and now we saw him slow, heading off through this section of the racetrack a bit earlier on. ESL was the moment in question where you could see the smoke starting to settle down, and him rejoining the racetrack on the inside of Oak Tree. So that was riding the bow on Navino. Jeffrey Block, we just haven't talked about him too much, but quietly under our noses, Jeffrey Block has put on maybe one of the most dominating performances that we have seen thus far this season. So props where props are most certainly due to Jeffrey Block looking to end this season where he started, that being a trip to victory lane.
It would be almost poetic in that way if you bookends either side, despite
Ken,
championship. The latest to discover the difficulty of racing in a horseshoe. It goes off track briefly and returns down to thing that
Thank you, baby.
Jeffrey needs to worry about.
Fastest lap for Dunn, 149.48.
That have happened in this race. Here's the battle to pull up the
Don't be intimidated by this little shit. Make him work for it.
and Ken Eskridge. Patrick, who failed to set a qualifying time, is up to 15 at this stage. So pretty handy for himself. Getting a lap in. So keeping Ken Eskridge at least at arm's length for the time being.
Yeah, at this point of the race, kind of the middle 20, as I always like to call it, between the 40-minute mark and the minute 20 mark here in these races. I always like to say that this is a time where you don't necessarily want to attack, but you just want to keep your competitors at arm's distance. I always like to say,
relax, Brody.
I think the best way I can describe it is passive attacking. You're not necessarily going to go for the move at every single opportunity, but if the driver in front of you makes a small little trip up or feels like a slam dunk opportunity, you're still going to go for
On
it.
your right.
Like a full
fucking did that.
So I think that's
Still
kind
there.
of the stage that we're at in this race, and especially
Still there.
the trouble that we had earlier. I think everybody wants
Clear
to stop
right.
this race into any kind of group that they can.
Ken got a very good run and took a big look down the inside. He did scare Patrick off the racing line a little bit. He's going to get the job done is the big question here, is they're going to go side by side. Coming up in a NASCAR bend, Eskridge is on the wrong side of the track on this one. Tries to cut back underneath, just about nails it, but doesn't have the speed on the corner exit. So Patrick will retain it, at least for the time being. He goes deep down into the left hook. And that again will balk Ken Eskridge, who can't seem to do anything with it. And again, coming into the snake, And that's not poor position coming up behind them. That is Thomas Doherty. He's a lap down car. So this battle's not over, but certainly got interesting, at least for a brief moment. Also, I'm going to hold on to that oxymoron, passive attacking. It's a good one.
Oh, here we go.
The guy on your left.
See, you know, usually I would just say
this
that
line.
I
Brake
don't
late.
come up with the brightest of terms.
Keep your
but
line.
I'm trying to
he
think
did
of
it.
any other way that I
Left
could
side's
kind of
clear.
describe that. I think it is a good summary.
Oh, he
Patrick.
made it stick.
Don't panic, we'll get him back.
You're not gonna 100%
He
go
did
for
that.
it. You're not gonna send it all the time,
That was
but
a fucking
you're gonna
move.
take the opportunities when they're there. It's like finding $100 on the floor. You're gonna pick it up when they can. Ken Asperger's trying to pick up that 100 off the ground. He wants to go for this move. Patrick Aguirre, he's been really aggressive in this race, in this battle for sure. We saw those two kind of chasing each other's tails before the S's, but now they swap around. Ken Asperger jumping his way up.
Now on your right side.
Aguirre now
Right side's clear.
from that lap car
16th
right
place.
behind him with Doherty.
He's on your left.
That's engineer did a very good job on that.
He's still there.
Check back in with Steven Sturz.
Still there. Left side's clear.
Done for, I don't know, second, third, fourth time. I've lost count, honestly. Trying to overtake the 420 machine, but didn't get a good exit coming out of the tree, at least this time. So
Gotta see if I can learn
see
something.
him be able to pass here. Coming up to the roller coaster. But
The gap to Key ahead is increasing. It's now 2.7.
Ken's fast.
not expecting to see anybody probably for another 4 minutes or so. And even then, this window will likely extend down about 15, 12 minutes left. So this could be
All right,
spread
Patrick,
out.
the next car is one lap behind.
That has left a lot of gaps out there. That helps out those who want to get a little bit tricky, Ron, and try to pit early.
Now, I wonder how many people are going to take that escape chute option of just jumping out of the battles that they're in at the current moment, run down pit lane,
I
enjoy
appreciate
the
you guys
calmness
watching.
down
I don't know if you guys
in the
can even
pits
hear
and,
me.
try and overtake that way,
If you
because
can
as
hear me,
we've seen
hit that
thus far,
like button,
and whatever the case may be,
subscribe,
whether it be down
do
to
your
any
thing.
sort of change in the physics of these cars or whatever, it seems like trying to get overtakes done out there on the racetrack has been a lot easier said than done, as that's a moment for Les Carmichael off into turn number 3, and he's going to find the fence. That's going to cap off a pretty miserable end to the season for him. He is, I believe, is he still out there on the racetrack? I think he may have potentially towed.
Jeffrey
did tow.
is right
I
behind me.
gotcha.
Yes, so he is in pit lane, but
The gap to V15 ahead is increasing. It's now 5.5.
just hoping we'll be able to finish this race because
There's an incident in NASCAR Bend. Looks like it's Andrew.
Getting to checkered flag. That was an unusual line there from Brad Dunn. Extremely shallow. I don't think I've ever seen anybody take that line down through the oak tree. And it did not work out. Even Jensen had the better shot there coming on to Madison Avenue.
It was horrible, bro. I
Yeah,
gotta
once
clean
again,
that up.
proves the importance of getting a good run off through Oak Tree. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that for the entirety of this season, that is maybe the most important turn that we have had on the entire PCA Series 14 calendar. Looking through the tracks that we've had throughout the season, a lot of them have had very long flat-out laps. Of course, Spotty got the season up and rolling. Watkins Glen, Indy, Laguna Seca, that's a spin for Andy McCune off through turn number 3. Aragon, Zolder, and of course VIR here. Lots of long flat-out blasts that we have negotiated throughout this season, but I'd say VIR is probably the longest, at least in terms of longest uninterrupted straight-line blasts. So Oak Tree, very vital. Unfortunately, you got going through there, you're going to be a sitting duck down the backstretch.
Bit of a move from Brad trying to set up down in the first corner. Anthony went defensive. I feel like he didn't need to, though. The car was well back, but he was trying to play it safe. Clearly, it does look like the 241 has gotten into his head a little bit, and that may be half the battle.
The gap to 15th place ahead is increasing. It's now 8.0.
Bury your competitor on a track like this where mistakes have been plentiful, yeah, you're probably going to get that spot lickety split, as that's a moment for Jonathan Cisportas. That's off through turn number 14. Another driver having some trouble heading off into the braking zone here is looking done with a dive out of nowhere. He makes it
my God, I'm so sorry.
You have. There's an incident in. I think it might be Alex.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Not quite make that second apex. No. And that might be for the best.
That was so bad,
if I was
bro.
DiVincenzo, I'd feel a little bit hard done by on that move.
I don't saw
Perhaps
Alex.
a tad
I can't talk to him.
over-aggressive, but it all worked
Trying to
out
find
for
the
the
key.
420 as he retains that
None of these keys
position.
work.
The more they fight, the more that we see
Ah,
Anthony
Alex,
go
I'm so
defensive.
sorry.
The more time they've been
I'm about to give him the spot back.
We've been warned about track limits.
Yeah, I'll give him the spot back.
You have 7 incident points.
already. So this battle is costing them.
I think I
Blue
was
flag.
Take a look at the replay and
Oh
Fucking
shit.
hell, defend this position.
Left side, you're clear on the left.
back into a corner that's
The guy in front is Alex, rookie license, and their rating is 1.4.
Yeah, I will say this. I don't mean any sort of ill will when I say this. That's the sort of maneuver that you can tell is made by a driver that's rather new to this series. It's, obviously it was an exciting move to call from my perspective here in the broadcast booth. But
That's 20
that
minutes
was
to go.
A bit of a kamikaze dive, if I am being honest, heading off into Oak Tree. He made
Black
it
flag.
stick
We'll need to come into the
briefly,
pits to
and
serve
then
it.
into the
What?
second part, that's when things kind of went awry. But seeing a level of seeing a level of aggression out of
Oh
Brad
my
Dunn that you
God.
don't usually see out of usual racers. Now, I always consider that in league races on iRacing, doesn't matter what kind of car you're running in, there's
God.
always two different
Oh,
stages
they gave
where
me
it's
a-
penalty in the next 3
laps.
laps.
I
Fastest
gave
lap
him back the
no, it's
position.
149.40.
racing standards where you gotta do this, you gotta do this, that, and the third. And then in some leagues, depending on what kind of car it is,
bro.
you're gonna have different sort of unspoken rules that the drivers in the
I don't
league
even have
who
a
are
pit
a bit more
limiter.
of the experience and may know, and others who are just
Look
getting
out
their
for the pit
footing,
speed limit. The pit
will
lane
learn
speed limit
eventually.
is
I'm sure Brad
37
Dunn
miles per hour.
pace we've seen
One.
thus far.
Box
I'd love
now.
to see him come back here in the PCA, but
God.
certainly some learning to be made so he
It's
doesn't
just
go
whack.
for any more aggressive and
What the
sometimes
fuck,
maybe
dude?
scary dives like that heading off into Oak Tree.
bad news for fans of Aguera. He's been given a black flag for contact on lap 21, so his great
traffic
climb
on the
to
exit.
field
Keep it
has
tight.
been slightly hampered, unfortunately.
17th place. Okay, Patrick. The next car is Lisa, rookie license, and their rating is 1.3.
Exactly what he does.
Blue flag.
18 minutes left to
Blue
go.
flag. What are they talking about?
The reason I think this is a good idea, if you could have some clear track in front of him, I feel like that would free him up. He
Yo, I
seems to
didn't
be
any
quicker
of these
than
keys
Anthony.
mapped.
Just
So
seems to be
speed.
a little bit confused as to where to make the pass.
Yeah, it is a little bit tricky to try and find exactly when and where you want to
Blue
get
flag.
the move done because sometimes you got to set it up a couple of
I can't even get out of his way, bro.
beforehand as Brad Dunn may have to run it farther down into the pit box to try and hit his mark.
10 minutes.
That's gonna cost him.
Car on your left, clear on the left.
There's
I'm hoping he
at
said
least
okay.
a second there that's going to be added on to go time. So 5 seconds.
See if I can learn
Flag
something.
total from beginning to the end of the lane. Jeffrey Block still.
Let me see if I can learn.
This race. It's actually come down. It was at 15 seconds before. Instead,
VIR is not my track,
taking
y'all.
it easy with the traffic and his pace. Obviously, he has room to spare right now. Let's see if he fits in. Since we've seen at least a couple drivers call it
Car left.
this stage.
You are clear on the left.
So, in this surprise, he will stay out. So, the 389 carries on for at least another lap.
I had a lift.
I wonder whether or not we're going to see some drivers run a interesting and very different play call here in this race compared to what they usually do. That's a big lockup from Tom Pizzardi. I wonder if the lockups will eventually cause some of these drivers to
18
maybe
is
come down
13 seconds
a little bit
behind me.
earlier than others. And
Marcos
it's not a
is
matter of
reeling you in. The
tires,
gap's now
obviously, 'cause
30
when you come down to
seconds.
different tires,
He's
you're
faster
gonna
than you
spend a
into
whole
Snake.
lot of time down pit lane that you do not, but will eventually cause you to push a little bit harder, make some more mistakes, and maybe burn up a bit more fuel in the process.
This is how you get faster. You roll around people that are faster. And you learn. See what they're doing?
Snow looks like he did the
Try your best to keep up.
So, please serve that.
This is how you get faster. See what they're doing and mimic it.
From ninth place.
I need to come wide, bro.
Yikes.
Yikes.
A bit higher up. The highest driver until he did it ever. Dunn. Got a shocking shot.
Dave Jones.
Seconds. Most of the drivers have been doing 12 to 15 this week. Unless it's just not that bad here. Oh, and Brad Dunn just went off right next to these cars on the main straight of all places. I have
Bradley.
no idea what he's doing out here right now.
His VR went out.
I wonder if there's some sort of hardware failure because it doesn't
leader,
look like he's
block,
in any sort
is
of
pitting.
rush to rejoin the racetrack, and it looks like that car is just going to naturally grind to a halt. What in the world is going on here with Brad Dunn? Let's take a look at
Incident in turn 6. Looks like it's been the gap to 8th place. There's an incident in Horseshoe. It looks like Dunn. John, car number 141. There's an incident in Snake. We think it might be Bean.
He rejoined the racetrack eventually. Don't tell me he made contact after he rejoined. Anyways, we got Jeffrey Block now coming down pit lane.
Good point. Our leader decides to pit.
Yeah.
But Johan Nine
Stay on
does
it.
not.
This isn't over yet. Okay, Patrick. 15 minutes left. That's 15 minutes.
Jones stays out.
Brad Dunn's in 16. Damn, what's this?
Gap to 18th. Behind is now 12 seconds. Incident in Horseshoe. It looks like Dunn.
A little bit more normal here than what we're used to. Jones gets promoted to the second, even Chinzo on the third. Dunn's still stationary on the outside of turn 1. And I think your call was right that it looked like he was letting the car coast to a halt for some reason. So to me, that does say that maybe there's hardware problem he's trying to solve. And he knows he's on.
We just had a warning for cutting the track.
He's out of harm's way, and now he takes the tow, and that is going to be it for Brad Dunn.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe in the moment of him going off the track, obviously the grass isn't going to be anywhere near as smooth as the asphalt, so you're getting a lot of force feedback spikes. I wonder if maybe his sim rig just got shaken to the point where maybe his monitor got unplugged.
Oh,
I know I've had
hell
moments
no,
like
bro.
that. Here's a good little
Relax.
monitor-related story. When my best friend was getting her current desk set up, she was worried that her monitor or graphics card or something like that was going wrong on her computer. Because
Heavy.
it was
good,
going
yeah.
fine, and then when she would
Oh,
get
shit.
to the desk like 15 seconds later,
Oh, shit.
the monitor would just go dark, and she wouldn't be able to
My
turn
bad.
John is pitting from P1. He should come out close in front of you. Marcos is gaining on you. The gap is now 10 seconds. He's faster than you, entering left hook.
Potentially
10
what happened
seconds
with Brad
behind
Dunn. A
me.
rather unfortunate way for it to end. Well, it's overall a very fast, but sometimes a bit overly flamboyant debut.
Flamboyant.
Block. Car number
Damn
389
it.
is
He
leading
is
the race.
fucking pulling on me. I don't know how to.
Like one of his is, he's been following them in. Should get
If I get out of the car in a pit stop to like map
Okay,
some
Patrick. We estimate you've got
keys,
5 minutes of
will I,
fuel remaining. B16.
go.
will I lose? Like, will it count as a tow? Or if I'm in the pits, I can get out. If anybody knows the answer to that, let me know, please.
Already seen the class, the up class, the sport class, challenge, Robert's turn. Wrap this all up before we have to wait.
Oh.
In and out there. Deep and so being on his way. Nah, again, he's back.
Lisa is 20 seconds ahead of me. Fuck
And
no.
with a big chunk of the field coming down pit lane, it's giving the race lead back to Jeffrey Block. Johan Nine going to be exiting
gap behind
out in
is now
second.
10
Ed
seconds.
Trippett currently running in fourth, which may not be the most spectacular result in the world for the driver of the 444 car, but it is enough for him to try and secure this championship crown. And what a season that Ed Trippett has had. You know,
There's an incident
throughout
in
this
Ogpen.
season
It
of
looks like
action,
it's Stevenson.
of the Porsche Club of America Sim Racing Series. We've seen many different drivers with different routes to get to this point in the
Dave,
season.
look
Whether
at
they were
Dave. He's gonna get him a
successful in the
podium.
championship bid or not,
Fucking
many different
killing it.
drivers had many different seasons.
The gap
For
to
Ed Trippett,
P2
it's
behind
been
is now
a
4.8
smooth
seconds,
and
1 lap
consistent
ahead.
Run of form here in the challenge class. 2
God,
wins,
Dave.
those coming at Indianapolis
That's
for round
awesome.
number 3, and Aragon in the wet for round number 5. I was also able to grab the pole in that race at Aragon as well. Only a few drivers, in fact, only 2 have been able to start from the pole and convert it into a victory throughout the entirety of the
I don't even know
season.
how to clean my
And
windshield
misfortune
wiper.
surrounding Brad
Trying
Dunn.
to roll
I believe
through like
that
this.
will stay the same here for this season of action. But Ed Trippett, if he can close it off, we still have
Okay,
11.5
Patrick,
minutes
we're running
left
on
to go.
fumes, mate.
It's
In
been
this
a
lap,
welcome
box this lap.
season of action for Ed Trippett.
Box.
Certainly has.
My bad.
Stevenson.
I can't
Nope,
see my
that
shit.
is going to be a little bit bent up for Stevenson and Whitehurst. So give
I
him some
cannot.
play. This is down in the left hook. The car gets a little bit squirrely. Locks it down. Does he keep it out of the barrier? Looks like he does. Get it back on the track. Just maybe a bit of a scare before he gets it going.
The gap to 17th place. Behind is now 9.4. You've got 1 gallon left.
I need to bring it in
Give
for
it
some,
one more shot as we give a mention to Princess Cruise. As the official cruise vacation partner of Series 14, they provide exclusive offers, including
Blue flag.
trips across a fleet of 17 partner ships, sailing to more than 330 global destinations.
Uh-oh,
Reach out
blue
to
flag.
PCA
10 minutes to go. That's 10 minutes left.
Enter today by
10 minutes in the race? Oh shit.
878
That's what I'm talking about. Oh, shit.
Thank you to Princess Cruises.
Oh my gosh.
sponsorship.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
For 10 more minutes, we have some racing yet
It's
to
'cause
go.
I almost
It is
missed my
not
pit
over.
stop.
Shown us the meatball
As it
flag.
stands,
We'll need to
Ed
come in for
Trippett
repairs.
is still
What
going to
the
be your
fuck?
champion unofficially. Jeffrey
Oh
Block
my
looks like
God.
he is in a solid
The
spot
car
to
in
try
front
to take
is
this one home,
Marcos.
which
C
is a bit
license.
Where is the
unfortunate
pit stop?
for
This better be
Johan
the fucking
Nye,
pit stop.
As he is
Oh my god.
has come so close to trying
not the
to
pit stop.
take his
You
first
have
win. I think
12
that's scary
incident
moment
points.
just now coming out of Oak Tree.
There's an
What did I
incident in
do?
roller coaster. You think it might be Marcos?
I gotta
Action
tow.
From what I could see on my
an
screen. In the
idiot.
meantime, looks like we got a little bit of a fight between Galaze and Suspordis.
That wasn't even the pit stop.
eighth
I'm a
position.
fucking idiot. Oh.
Oh, there's a car off the track. That is.
Patrick.
Just trying to figure out. That was Aguera. Oh my goodness. Was missing quite a bit of bodywork on the front. I suspect he is the car that I saw have an issue with Nye.
Nah.
Maybe not. That's Nye behind him. Oh, it is.
Oh.
What in the world happened?
No, I thought it was a pit stop.
Wheel failure?
Goodness, yeah, that had to have been some sort of hardware failure, either a wheel failure or some sort of monitor issue. Tries to back it out of harm's way. Let's ride on board. You'll be able to see the steering wheel and hear the throttle input as he heads his way off through here. Out of Oak Tree, looking all
That's
right.
bad. That's
Wheel
so
here. If
bad.
it jerks, then it's definitely.
Yep.
Well, it's not instant.
Yeah, oh, look at that evasive action there. That could have very easily ended in disaster for
Yeah.
two drivers. In fact, I think that had to have been a monitor failure. I think he knew roughly what part of the racetrack he was at and decided
I
just to take
didn't.
the high road as soon as his vision blanked out
Bro,
there. That was very
Do
strange.
you hear them?
Highly unusual, yeah. But I'm glad
I-
that it didn't take out Johan. Because even if he can't take the championship tonight, I think this is a podium that Johan needs to be proud of. He started from fifth.
That's bad.
He had a good start
That's
to the
bad.
race. He's been very consistent up there in P2 and just been doing his own thing and really just dealing with what's within his
What was
grasp.
this?
Aubrey Iyer, though, is grasping at a little bit of the grass out there of
That was
turn
bad.
one and actually comes back to the infields, thankfully, without anybody coming across the four car.
That sucks. Pete speed limit
I don't think it's
37.
over though, as there we go, tripping
That
with a very
sucks.
bad exit, heading out of Oak Tree. Is there
Oh, something's
damage on
wrong.
that race car? Yeah,
Yeah.
something's up.
Oh my
Something's in
goodness.
the air,
Patrick,
y'all.
you've got
Changes
10 minutes of
things.
fuel remaining.
This could lose
Looks
him
like
the
you're clear on the pit
championship.
exit.
What has happened
I go.
to the triple
P20.
four car?
I go.
And this has been going on for much of this lap, from what I can tell. I'm trying to search on my computer to see if I can find where he accrued this damage. It was a long time ago. I think he made a little bit of contact. Here it is right here. That is Keith Markison. Now, he was a bit off coming into the roller coaster, but he runs into the side. He's got 6 more minutes to go. He's running in
Yeah,
9th spot.
bro.
So, Johan Nye sitting in 2nd. We got to do math here. That's
Oh, he's
gonna-
in pits.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Johan Nye might actually take this title
Wow.
right at the end. They're to be the twist in the tail.
I knew it was going to have to result in this major damage
gonna
on
make
that
a good
car.
example.
It was only 5 seconds
complete the
between
race.
himself and Ken Eskridge, who was running in 10th at the
Idiot.
time, has now jumped his way up into 9th. Ed Trippett had to come down pit lane. The damage was too severe on that race car. He was either going to lose the title potentially as a result of him coming down
What
pit lane,
was
or he was going to lose it for sure, staying out there on the racetrack. It is 10 points.
I thought that was the pit.
The gap to
thought that was the
behind
pit.
is now 3.5, 2 laps
Bullshit,
ahead.
Can't
bro.
jump into the race lead unless a major
This is what
falling
happens when you
angle
don't
comes
play
down on Jeffrey
VIR.
Block. I think it is still within Trippett's hands, but he's got to keep it clean. If
Such
he keep it clean, he's golden, albeit
idiot.
just barely.
Wow. That just about took it away from him. It's a good thing he was able to drive it back the way he did, although obviously it looked like it was off the pace. He's got 11 seconds over Aubrey Iyer, and I'm assuming that the 444 is quicker than Aubrey, so hopefully he should be able to run away without
That's
any
the fucking
threat
pit.
of being caught.
That's
Looks
the
like
pit.
Ed seems relatively calm at this stage, despite the drama.
All right, Patrick,
10
5 minutes to go,
points.
5 minutes
That is
left.
Unbelievable. Johan maybe just wishing that he had something to try and keep up with Jeffrey Block, because he could
Incident
have
in
actually
South
won
Bend.
this
Looks like it's
championship
Andrew.
if he had been at P1.
All right, let's go race, y'all.
And you know, we think about how the twists and turns of a
There's an incident in
championship fight
Oak Tree.
can go one
Looks
way
like
or the
Andrew.
other. Think of the moment that happened with Johan Nye dodging that car who had the technical issues coming out of Oak Tree. Now, if things went a little bit more sour for Trippett and he lost out on a couple more spots, and Johan Nye had that incident, it's who knows what would have gone on. So much drama has gone on with our championship contenders here. I think Ed Trippett is going to be breathing a sigh of
They're all
relief.
lap ahead.
And as much as I said that Johan Nye doesn't really have
The
any
gap to
clear to
P6
improve the
behind is now
20 seconds
2.2,
further up the
2
road,
laps in
Ed
front.
Trippett is running slightly less comfortable than he once was, but he's still running a bit more comfortable than Johan Nye. Nye knows that he's going to have to hope for lightning to strike in the same bottle 2 times in a row, as Aubrey Iyer has to really kick on the Hyperjets to close up a 10-second gap in the final 4 minutes of this race. It's still advantage Trippett, but my oh my, talk about adding in some stress onto the season finale.
And a little bit of unnecessary stress as well. And
I liked it.
say,
It was
you know,
good.
What would have happened if Trippett and Nye
I got
both run into
5
trouble?
more minutes,
Well, I
I
think,
think,
you have a
or
very
4.
happy Anthony DiVincenzo because he's still running in 4th place. I think it's still possible for him to take the
Blue
championship
flag.
if they both have issues. So obviously it's
Where's,
not
John?
as likely
Left
now that
road.
we're down to only 3.5 minutes left. But Anthony has been running a nice race.
Oh,
even
yeah,
if he's
get
not
closer
on
than
the
that.
podium,
1.5?
currently. So Johan Nye is still running that P2. Is that going to be P2 though? Because Dave Jones is actually
P19.
catching up to our 2nd place car. I just noticed.
Look at
There he
Dave.
is.
Look at Dave, bro. Go
Yeah,
Dave.
these two have kind of kept each other at arm's length throughout a decent chunk of this stint. Dave Jones hasn't necessarily applied the pressure to Johan Nye, but he hasn't been allowing Johan Nye to drive off into the sunset either. They've been going 10 for 10 when it comes to lap time, keeping each other honest in terms of the gap, teetering around that 1 second barrier as what is going on with Susportus losing out some time. Ken Eskridge coming down the pit lane as well. The 77 car, so as much as Johan Nye doing some pressure to try and hold on to 2nd
Yeah,
and
make
make that
that
Trippett
spots,
will
bro.
jump his way back up into the top 10. So advantage Trippett even more so now.
Eskridge supposed to be a splash and dash. I think maybe it fueled up a little bit too short. Is going to not be able to beat Trippett out. So Trippett now up into P10, and it has gone to a 20-point gap now at this stage. Just that.
2 minutes to go, 2 minutes.
To
2
the
minutes.
triple
Let's go.
four. But that was a heart attack and a half, I'm sure, for him. As we check in with Ed, I believe. Let's see, our leader's actually just getting ready to cross the line right now.
We estimate you've got 5
that
minutes of
leaves
fuel
2
remaining.
laps to go at this stage.
Yeah, I think right now we're probably trying to catch our breath as much as Ed Trippett is because what a dramatic series of events at the end of this season. Brendan was talking about how Ed Trippett will be a deserving
Dog,
champion.
you gotta go
Don't wanna
faster than
jinx it
that.
once again. I feel like I've already done that thus far.
He's way back there, bro.
You know, You
must
mentioned
just
right
lift
before
off
we went
every
live,
time.
Joe, about the dramatic championship finale that we had yesterday here on Racebout with the PCA. I feel like
I'll
this
get
is
out of his way when
equally
he gets
dramatic
closer.
here. This is wild. You know, it still looks like the result
There he goes.
may
Come
be
on.
the same. Still have time
let him
left to
through.
go, and only 20 points between
shit,
your
he's
top
still
two
second
in the
behind me.
championship standings. But talk about this season being so hard to pin down. Even the championship battles where it looks like it's been game, set, match haven't been that easy to predict.
It's
Oh shit.
it's wild and unpredictable in a
John.
very different
Let me get him
way
instead of John's
than we
way.
saw last night. Jeffrey
I gotta
Block,
get. Oh shit.
perhaps the least
Ah, don't follow me, John.
The car on your right, clear right.
so far.
Okay, Patrick, we just cut the track.
Like
You
I
have
said,
13
Let me get a
incident
fucking
points.
penalty for unsafe rejoin
at the
probably.
front of the field, getting ready to take the white flag now as he
Trying to get out
comes
of the
towards
way.
the end of the lap.
Blue flag.
Another blue flag?
Nowhere in sight for him. And for fans of Johan, I have good news. He's now 3 seconds ahead of Dave Jones.
Wow.
Yeah, he's cleared himself of the threat with the 313, although it won't really have any effect on the
I'm
championship.
happy for Dave,
So
bro.
he needed a
That
position
coaching
rather than
works,
just
huh?
to defend his position.
That's pretty fucking
He's
cool.
in.
Congrats to Dave.
The clock comes down to
Oh
zero.
wow, I don't hear race
Yes,
control
there
at
we
all.
go. White
If
flag
they're talking to
is
me.
out in time for Jeffrey Block as he comes down into the first corner once again. Started Series 14 taking a win out at Spa. And we come over here to Virginia International Raceway where he's been missing from that top step for a number of races. He's finally going to place himself.
Bro, he's 1.4
And a
back. I'm not gonna
triumphant
just
return
stop.
to victory lane for Jeffrey Block if it does happen to finish
You've
this
got 1
way.
gallon left.
I do want to say though,
hope
talking
we make
about
it
our
home.
P2 runner, you know,
Yeah,
you
the
mentioned
white
this
White flag.
earlier on.
One
I
more
want
to go.
give my piece on this because certainly we will
Very
be
little
talking
fuel
about
left.
our presumptive champion if things finish the
There's
way
an
they
incident
are.
in
Trip.
roller
This is
coaster.
where I
You think it
belong.
might be
Jeffrey
B?
Block for
Right here
second
with these
overall
guys.
this season. I want to give
Like
some love to
P7.
Johan Nye. He has shown a heck of a lot of pace throughout this season.
Incident in
Has shown a lot
14.
of
Looks
type of
like
guy.
it's
and
B.
a lot of ability behind the wheel of one of these cars. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on Nye come time for the start of Series 15 because I think he has got a lot of pace. This may not
Yeah,
be
that,
over though.
pit
Jeffrey
stop.
Block a little bit
Extra
slow
pit stop
as he
maybe,
headed his way off through Oak Tree. I was
drive
worried
through
that he was
penalty.
running out of
Fuck.
gas there for a couple of moments. I was waiting for this race to give us one more panic attack, but no, I think Block is
There's an incident in roller coaster. You think it might be B?
Victory lane.
And just real quick, Trippett has been caught a little bit by Eskridge. He's under 5 seconds. He's 17. I don't know why Ed is so off the pace. Hopefully, he also has enough fuel to get to the end here. And is going to find himself one final sting. But
Yes,
it
run.
is going to be a final sweet victory for Jeffrey Block in the 389. He'll win the
Jeffrey.
first and he'll win the last here in Series 14.
Half a gallon
PCA
remaining.
Challenge class.
Shit's wild, bro. I've seen
Very
some
little
of that.
fuel left.
I think Jeffrey Block is another one that we want to keep our eyes on come time for the start of Series 15. And here was the one that I mentioned.
Now they got
a few
the new
moments ago.
P-Cups
Johan
coming.
Nye, as it stands right now, he'll lose out on the title by just 20 points. But bravo to Nye. He gave it everything in the season finale, even though the tides were not turned in his favor. He held on, finished in second behind a dominant
Okay,
Jeffrey
Patrick, the
Block.
next car is
Incredible
Andrew,
credit
Yeah,
C
to
license, and
Johan
their rating
Nye
is
for really breaking
0.9.
out throughout the season, grabbed the bull at Zolder, nearly won that race, and I think he's
18th.
going to be a
Okay,
strong
it's over.
contender
Good drive.
for the start of Series 15. But here it seems to be the man
That
of
was
the
pretty
evening,
bad.
the man who nearly lost
Man
out
of
on the
the
title in the
evening,
most heartbreaking
Patrick.
way. But as he's running by himself, it looks like it's going to be Ed Trippett's season here after all.
Oh my god, look at Dave.
Trippett in the
Dave
triple
killed it.
four. It was going to be a fourth place, it looked like, for a while, which would have been incredibly
Yes,
fitting
bro,
for
it's a
him.
monitor failure.
But even still, I don't think he cares as much about some sort of fitting and
Damn.
poetic number. He just wants it to be the most at the end of the season.
sucks, bro.
And as he rounds this corner,
Ole.
unofficially, with this 10th place, despite the scares, Ed Trippett will
Where did I
be
start
your
off at?
champion. Not sure that he's aware of the point situation. I don't
I hate
see a
that I
lot of
didn't do
celebrations
much at the
yet.
beginning, like
Maybe
the
there'll be
quali or
some
nothing.
sighs
That's
of
the end of the
relief
session.
once he hears what those calculations come out to be.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether or not I would want to know about the point situation in that drama
Oh,
towards the
that
end.
was
I
bad.
think I would want to be
That
in Ed
looks like
Trippett's
a
shoes thinking,
leak,
okay,
y'all.
I just know that there
Appreciate
was
you
some
guys
drama
watching.
going on.